Hello 7th grade, how are you today? This is your English teacher Dana from Al Farouk Academy. Today we are going to start with a second grammar of this unit. This is about the gerund and the infinitive verbs. So let's start. The outcomes of our lesson today: students should be able to recognize the gerund. What do we mean about gerund and when can we use it? The infinitive verbs, and practice the verbs with infinitive and gerund. Okay, my students, before starting our grammar lesson, I want to show you some important information about the lesson. You have to know what do we mean about infinitive, gerund, and what are these topics. What do you mean about infinitive? Yes, infinitive يعني مجرد. What is the form of the infinitive اللي هو to plus base form؟ يعني to مع الفعل من غير أي إضافات. To the base form of the verb like what? To sing, to dance, to run. So to with base form sing is a verb. To dance is a verb. To run. So all these verbs are infinitive verbs or in their base form. What about the gerund? Gerund اللي هو بمعنى المصدر. What is the form of the gerund? The present participle form. What do you mean about present participle? Excellent. Verb with ing. Like what? Singing. Sing. Singing. Sing is a verb. When we want to add ing, it will be a gerund. How can we differentiate between the gerund and the verb? If this word isn't preceded by verbs to be, it will be a gerund. But if we have before this word verbs to be, any verbs to be, is, are, am, was, or were, it will be what? A main verb. Excellent. So لما يجوا لحالهم هم بيكونوا gerund من غير أي إضافات. So they are gerund. Present participle form يعني الverb مع ing. Singing, dancing, running. Run يركض, running ركض. Sing يغني, singing غنى, and so on. The last information that you have to know is the gerund and infinitive verb or infinitive depends on what? Depends on the main verb in the sentence. يعني إيش بدنا نحط؟ هل حنحط gerund ولا حنحط infinitive؟ هذا الإشي بيعتمد على المين verb الموجود بالسنتنس. What are these verbs اللي رح نعتمد عليهم إنه هل حنستخدم gerund ولا infinitive verb؟ Let's start talking about them. Let's start with the gerund. حكينا gerund بمعنى المصدر. The form of it اللي هو present participle is a noun form of a verb that ends in ing as we said before, like what? Play, playing, dance, dancing, eat, eating. So هو verb بضيف له ing بصير gerund، ولكن لازم ننتبه إنه ما لازم يسبقهم أي فعل من الأفعال to be. And you have to know that gerund can be used as a subject or an object. Look at these two examples. Cooking is my favorite hobby. Cooking is a gerund and here the gerund is a subject. إذا الجرند ممكن يجي عندي subject or object. In the first example it came as a subject. Cooking الطبخ is my favorite hobby. I hate studying. Studying comes as an object, so here we have to recognize that the gerund can be used as a subject, cooking, or an object, studying. And look here, recognize that they are verbs with ing. Now, what are the verbs that followed by gerund? شو هم الverbs اللي لازم دائما يتبعهم gerund? Look at these sentences and recognize the main verb in each sentence. Number 1, they don't mind working hard. Now, where is the main verb here? Excellent. The main verb is mind. They don't mind. What do we have after mind? Working. Working is a verb or a noun. It's a noun. It's a gerund. So, the first verb that followed by a gerund is mind. أول فعل عرفنا لازم دائما يتبعه gerund. Working is a gerund اللي هو mind. What is the second one? Look at this example. He enjoys drinking coffee. He enjoys. So احنا طبعا هون ضفنا أسيمس لأنه عندي he. دائما main verb depends on the structure in the sentence or the tense. هذا اللي احنا بنعرفه طبعا. So here we have enjoy. Enjoy is the second verb that always followed by a gerund. Whereas the gerund is drinking. Number 3, I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to is a main verb that always followed by or must be followed by a gerund, and where is the gerund is trying. So I'm looking forward to something new. So here we have trying, drinking, working. All these words are gerund. لازم نعرف إنه الverb mind, enjoy, looking forward to دائما لازم يتبعهم gerund. And we have another verbs that must be followed. لازم يتبعهم gerund. What are these verbs? Hate, like, be good or bad at. يعني I'm good at swimming or I'm bad at swimming. So دائما good and bad at لازم يتبعهم gerund. Be interested in. I am interested in writing. I'm interested in cooking. I'm interested in anything. So all these verbs must be followed by a gerund. What about infinitives? What do you mean about infinitives? Yes, they are the verbs. The verbs that form with to plus verb. Verb-based form, as we said, يعني فعل مجرد. Also in infinitives, we have some important verbs that always followed by infinitive. What are these verbs? Look at the examples. Number 1, Mom is planning to do new design. Look here, we have a verb plan. Plan plus to, and we have another verb that come after to. This is the base form. So when we see plan, we have to put infinitive verb after to. So Mom is planning to do new design. Number 2, they decided to go to home. So here we have the verb decide. Decide, the verb that always followed by an infinitive verb اللي هو الgo. The last example, Sally needs to eat it. Sally need is from the verbs that always followed with an infinitive اللي هو eat. So here we have 3 verbs that must be followed by infinitive verbs. Where are the infinitive verbs? اللي هم do, go and eat. We have another verbs that must be followed by infinitives, like what? Like manage, help, and want. So we have need, plan, decide, manage, help, want. These verbs always followed with infinitive, as we said in these examples. And now, my students, let's do an exercise. Here we want to determine if the verbs in these sentences followed by a gerund or an infinitive. Number 1, do you want your family now, calling or to call? Let's remember that you have to determine the main verb. Here the main verb is want. Excellent. And want from the verbs that must be followed by a gerund or an infinitive. Yes, the verb, excellent, that must be followed by a gerund, so the answer is to call. Do you want to call your family now? Number 2, Mr. Harry enjoys people out to dinner. Inviting or to invite. Let's remember, enjoy from the verbs that must be followed by, excellent, a gerund, so the answer is inviting. Mr. Harry enjoys inviting people out to dinner. Number 3, I look forward to paint the house, to help or to helping. Let's remember this verb must be followed by a gerund, and we have to put to, so the answer is to helping. The last one, she doesn't mind hard. She doesn't mind to work hard, or she doesn't mind working hard. Mind is the main verb in this sentence, and mind must be followed by, yes, excellent, by a gerund, so the answer is working. By this exercise, my students, we finished our class for today. I want you to write these examples or exercise on your notebook and be ready for the next class.